آخر خوش اومد به ویدیو دیگه از کانال ما. برگشتیم به ویدیویی که من طولت عادی بهش ریاکت نمی‌کردم بچه‌ها، ولی فکر کردم که شاید واسهتون جالب باشه، چون واسه خیلی جالبه. اینا رو خودم حقیقت میشینم میبینم. و اینکه تایتل ویدیو اینه که رپرهایی که مجبور شدن عذرخواهی کنن، حالا نمیدونم راجع به چه موضوعی و نمیدونم چه رپراییه. و زیرنویس فارسی هم داریم. چنل هم چنل لویستا بچه‌ها، خاصیت الان اسمش دارید میبینید اینجا. خیلی چنل خفنیه، کانتنت ها راجع به رپ‌های آمریکا و کلا رپ اینترنشنال درست میکنن. خیلی کانتنتش باحاله. بریم سراغ ویدیو دیگه. توضیح اضافه نمیدیم دیگه بچه‌ها. زیرنویس فارسی هم داریم. اگه اینجور ویدیو خوشتون میاد لایک، کامنت، سابسکرایب کنید و تو کامنت حتما بهم بگید که اینجور ویدیو بیشتر بگیرم واسهتون.
Your ground is important in any culture, but most certainly in hip hop. In a genre where everyone values strength and power, having to admit that you were wrong is something that most people will try to avoid.
جی کول امینم بود، یکی بود کانی وست.
It's only a matter of time before
اوکی، ویدیو جذابی مثل که همه گندان.
But sometimes rappers mess up so bad
21
that
Savage.
moving
Oh,
forward
oh,
with
oh.
their career feels
Drake.
impossible, at least until they've made things right.
Soulja
Or
Boy?
at the very least, it looks
Who's
that way
the-
for a while.
Yeah,
Forcing
nah,
them
uno
to
نمیشناختم.
swallow their pride and apologize just to stay in the game. It's your boy Luesta, and these are rappers who are forced to apologize. Let's start with a situation that arose
Okay.
at the beginning of a megastar's career. When he first
Drake.
popped up on the scene, Drake was instantly regarded as an MC that resonated with the female listeners. With his emotional bars
آره
and
حاجی.
R&B influenced
حالا من نمیدونم چقدر بچه‌ها راجع به دریک میشناسید داره نمیدونید، ولی دریک خیلی از فناش دخترم. کلا یکم رپ احساساتی میخونه. خیلی خوبه.
making him feel almost tailor-made to connect with the female audience in hip-hop. But initially, there was a hiccup which meant that he almost chased the female audience off right away. Regarded as one of the main songs that helped launch him into the mainstream, So Far Gone's Best I Ever Had may be seen as an essential track in his discography today. But it initially spawned
Best I Ever Had گوش کردم؟ یادم نمیاد گوش کرده باشم. اگه شما گوش کردید تو کامنت بنویسید بچه‌ها.
The first came in the form of his Kanye West produced video for the song. After Kanye took notice of some of Drake's earlier tracks, he offered to direct the video, casting Drake as the coach of a women's basketball team. At first, Drake seemed hyped about the whole thing, and he couldn't wait to drop it online.
It's a metaphor, you know, the entire video is a metaphor. It's I'm the coach of a high school basketball team. But as a young man, you know, I'm sort of not really, I guess, ready to commit to one person, you know. So as young men who aren't ready to commit, we have like what may appear as like a roster of women that we, you know, talk to. And no matter how bad they play, to me they're the best, you know. So it's a metaphor that, you know, you're
What the fuck did the Drake say, bro? این اصلا هیچ معنی نمیده. فقط کسشری گفته. What the fuck?
best that I ever had. Because I ain't directed it. Fabulous showed up, Trey Songz coming, a lot of people were there, so you know it'll be a fun video.
But when it did arrive, it provided the first major issue of his career as the video was deemed as sexist.
I don't know what to say. I don't know what's happening here, okay? We are falling apart.
42
Uniforms would be encouragement.
باکینه این کلام ها چه تکون بدم شما ویوتون بهتر باشه یکم.
Now when you're out there and they put that D on you, take that D. Take that D like the champions that you are.
Whoa, what you mean take that D? بچه اگه نمیدونید چیه take that D منظورشون بوق بذاره اینجا رو. آره.
But Drake, all you ever taught us how to do was stretch.
That's an essential part of the game, and that's why I focus so much time on that. But now look, we have 2 minutes left.
Damn.
And you all know good and well what we can do with 2 minutes.
In the aftermath, the video was promptly removed from YouTube. with Drake taking full for it. Over time, he tried to bail himself out in interviews while admitting that the tone was a little off and that he simply
اون موقع با کانی وست هم کار کرده. آجی بچه من اینو یادم رفت. با کانی وست مثل اینکه این ویدیو رو درست کرده واسه دریک. اون موقع مثل اینکه با هم بیف نداشتن. با کی نه؟
Kanye were in the studio working on a song for Big Sean, and that they intended for the song to have a comedic element to it. I felt that the climate in the world right now, everything in the world is so serious all the time. My life is serious. I just wanted to laugh instead of taking myself too seriously as the heartthrob and walking hand in hand into the movies and taking my shirt off. I felt it's not that time for me yet, or maybe never. I'm a very multifaceted person. One thing I told Ye is, I really want to act. I want to act in this video. I guess one thing I didn't consider is what the song personally meant to a lot of women.
چقدر کسشر گفت. همون دیگه همون اینا رو نما توضیح میدادش. من حس میکنم فقط
It was to make them laugh.
اینقدر توضیح
I
نباید
wanted
میداد.
people to see
من حس میکنم باید چیز میکرد هر موقعش اوکی من معذرت میخوام دیگه
something
چون یه
visually
مش
different.
کوسچر
As we
پولو
know
داد.
by now, Drake managed to avoid any major fallout from the video.
آره
Meanwhile,
دیگه.
it's become something which has been largely swept under the carpet when we talk about the Drake and Ye beef. However, not everyone has forgotten, with the battle rapper and TDE affiliate Daylight believing that it was an actual attempt to sabotage Drake before he could get too powerful.
Kanye f***ed over Drake.
اولی شیت بچه ها میگه که کانی وست اقصدی قبل از اینکه دریک بالاخره معروف بشه دیگه کانی وست قبل از دریک معروف شده بوده یه کانی وست اقصدی اومده یه ویدیو کوسشر ساخته که به یکی از بهترین آهنگاش بوده میگفتم ولی خب ویدیوش هست شده کلا هیود اگه واقعا کانی اینو اقصدن دونه خیلی آدم کشی باید باشی تازه هنوز معروف نشده بوده دریک
With that video, I think that was the dumbest video ever.
It kind of was for one of Drake's best songs ever.
It was one of Drake's biggest record ever, and I think Kanye was like, "I'm gonna ruin this thing. I'm
باکینه
gonna make one of the pointless videos
Yo.
of video history."
But as alluded to, this wasn't the only time the song got Drake in hot water. During a performance at the BET Awards in 2009, Drake and Young Money performed a medley of songs including Best I Ever Had and Every Girl. Yet, the problem was that they did so much with an entourage of girls, which consisted of Lil Wayne's daughters and her friends. Afterwards, activists...
دختر لیتل وین لیتل وین لیکوین
Brian Hurt penned an open letter to the BET CEO Deborah Lee, calling on the network to issue a public apology. In a culture where one of our 4 girls and women are either raped or sexually assaulted, and where manipulative men routinely traffic vulnerable women into the sex industry, it is not okay that BET allowed this to happen, Hurt said. BET owes its entire audience, particularly girls and women around the world, an apology for its failure to intervene. And sure enough, while Weezy pushed on without saying anything, Drake took the fall and apologized, claiming that it didn't feel right in a show that was mostly a tribute to Michael Jackson.
اوکی ادای احترام مایکل جکسون داشتم میکردم
But I was being pressed from different areas to perform, and I think what really happened
Holy
at the BET
shit.
Awards is with the passing of Mike, the climate really changed as far as the award show goes, he told Complex. I don't think it called for us to perform Every Girl and Always Strapped, and I think it was an award show filled with tributes and music and these genuine, heartfelt speeches. And to sort of climax out of a very tongue-in-cheek point, and then people misconstruing Wayne's daughters and her friends coming out on stage, it was just timed very poorly, and it definitely wasn't planned like that. But with that
آجی من نسبت میکنم کلا توضیح هایی که دریک داره میده کوشره
being said,
اصلا
it is what it is.
فقط داره جمع میکنه روی ریدی میخواد جمع کنی فقط هر چی داره تو مغزت میاد و میخوای بگی تون تون
My
Oh my
personal
gosh.
apologies. It wasn't intended to offend anybody. But if you thought that Drake potentially harmed his female fan base with the mishandling of this track's legacy, it's nothing compared to how much Rick Ross tanked his reputation with women and even lost
Rick
millions
Ross?
due to one misjudged lyric. Back in 2013,
اوه اینو میدونم چیه پشمام حاجی یه لاین داره ریک راس که پشم ریزون ترین لاین کل رپه کل تاریخ رپ
arguably at the peak of his powers. On top of the successes from his own projects, his Maybach music label was beginning to garner a reputation as a hotspot for talented new rappers. In March of 2012, he even signed a lucrative endorsement deal with Reebok. But with one haphazard design, all this was about to go wrong for Rose. When he featured on Rocco's You&E and No, Rick made
میدونستم حاجی فقط ببینید چی گفته پشماتون میریزه
he gets women. Put money all in her champagne. She ain't even know it. I took her home and I enjoyed that. She ain't even know it. Immediately
حاجی میشنوید چی داره میگه put money باکینه میگه put money all in her champagne she ain't even know it بچه مالی یه دونه دراگیه که یه دونه قرصیه که میخورد مثلا کسخل میشید یکم نه حالا نشه میشید خب بیسیکلی بعد میگه یه دونه قرص انداختم توی شمپینش خودش هم نمیدونه بردمش خونه و ازش لذت بردم بازم خودش هم نمیدونه چرا اصلا این لاینو باید بیای بگی این اصلا داره بیسیکلی تجاوز داره میگه what the fuck
They're saying that they condone rape. You can speak no matter what word that you
From there, the pressure only intensified, with over 72,000 people signing ultra-violence petition, calling for Ross to be dropped, and potentially putting an endorsement deal worth $3.5 and $5 million on the line. As the backlash grew stronger, Rose began inching towards an apology. Speaking with New Orleans radio station Q93.3, he said, "Things like date shouldn't be glorified." But then he added, "With that being said, I don't think taking rap lyrics as straight facts is ever the way to go. In reality, some people do these things, and it shouldn't be brought to the light so young women can protect themselves." Although it wasn't until Reebok actively dropped him that he issued a real one. In a written letter, Rose finally took responsibility, declaring, "Before I am an artist, I am a father, a son, and a brother to some of the most cherished women in the world. So for me to suggest in any way that harm and violation be brought to a woman is one of my biggest mistakes and regrets. As an artist, one of the most liberating things is being able to paint pictures with my words. But with that comes a great responsibility. And most recently, my choice of words was not only offensive, it does not reflect my true heart. And for this, I apologize. To every woman that has felt the sting of abuse..."
Nah, that's actually fucking crazy. نه حاجی بازم اصلا هر طور که فکرشو میکنم اصلا نمیشه. What؟ بازم با اینکه این اصلا حاجی فکرشو بکن خودش کسخله اصلا. اوکی خودش کسخله بابا، دوستی رفیقی اما چی داری میگی؟ داری میگی تجاوز فلان نماد اصلا. بسم الله. واکینه.
It's wrong and I do not encourage it. To my fans, I also apologize if I have disappointed you. I can only hope that this sparks a healthy dialogue and that I can contribute to it. Years later, Rose still seems haunted by the controversy, often bringing it up whenever another rapper finds themselves in hot water, as if it's to show that he's been through it too and made it out on the other side.
My circumstances and my incidents, well, I did lose a 7-figure deal with Reebok, and I took that to the chin, and I have no love lost for Reebok. You understand? Because I needed to understand I was a king. I didn't need to promote that. The parties I attended at the time, where I'm from, that was the lifestyle. And when you look at the reaction when we performed on that record, that was the most popular line to a lot of motherfuckers, and that's who I wrote that for. And I wrote that record speaking for the motherfuckers who living that lifestyle and partying that way. And me being a king, I did not need to promote that amongst my beautiful queens.
But for all that he's acted like he's now doubled down on the misogyny.
What about a female rapper? I always felt like, I know you dibbled and dabbled with different artists, that other female rappers, but
you know, I never did it because I always thought like I would end up fucking the female rapper and fucking the business up here.
Nah.
I gotta be honest with you.
Nah, that's actually crazy. حاجی خیلی این اصلا باید لاکتاپ بشه، ما بره زندان. ریکراس داره میگه که چی؟ میگه چرا با خواننده‌های زن زیاد مثلا کار نمی‌کنی؟ میگه که نمیتونم فوکس کنم، شاید یهو برم. The fuck.
You know, she looking good. I'm spending so much money on her photo shoots. I got a couple times.
So while he did apologize, it appears that it was more of an attempt to salvage his career than make real amends. However, one man who might have learned from his brushes with controversy to the point that he's almost comfortable with apologizing is none other than J. Cole. These days, J. Cole is best known for one thing: backing away from the beef with Kendrick by expressing his feelings and getting involved in it on stage at his own festival.
So I'm so proud of that project, except for one part. It's one part of that shit that make me feel like, man, that's the lamest shit I ever did in my life, right? And I know this is not what a lot of people want to hear. I know I can hear my niggas up there right now like, nah, don't do that. But I got to keep it 100 with y'all. Y'all heard some shit that happened 2-3 weeks ago, however long it was. Y'all heard that bazooka that was dropped on the motherfucking game, right? All of this time of me moving on my own accord, for the first time I was tested. Why am I tested? Because I got the world and I got my niggas like, what you gonna do, Cole?
But long before he was on stage apologizing to Kendrick for unveiling 7-minute drill, Cole had to put his hands up and admit wrongdoing. The first instance came when certain bars were removed from his feature on Drake's Jodeci freestyle. In a poorly thought out attempt at a metaphor, Cole dropped a bar that crossed the line, saying, "I'm artistic, you dudes is autistic, we're started." Obviously, we had to censor it here, but you get the idea. And the backlash was immediate, with disability.
بچه من خودم نفهمیدم معنی بارش چی شد، ولی یه کلمه‌ای که گفتش ریستارتد نمیشه کلمه‌اش تو یوتیوب گفتش، ولی خودمون میشه عقب مونده. کلمه خیلی کیریه، نباید استفاده کنید بچه واقعا.
And it didn't take long for
that's crazy.
for this on his now deleted dreamvillain.net blog, explaining why he felt the need to take accountability. Recently, there's been a trend that includes rappers saying something offensive only to be attacked for it in the media and pressured to apologize. I have to be completely honest and say there's a part of me that resents that. I view rap similar to how I view comedy. He then went on to say that the letter he was writing was sincere, emphasizing that his apology was necessary. To the parents who are fighting through the frustrations that come with raising a child with severe autism, finding strength and patience that they never knew they had, to the college student with Asperger's syndrome, to all of those overcoming autism, you deserve medals, not disrespect. I hope you accept my sincere apology.
حاجی نه ببین جی کول واقعا حاجی آدم درستیه. جی کول واقعا آدم درستیه. اصلا جی کول یکی از حاجی خیلی آدم درستیه. فقط همین میتونم بگم. نمیدونم چه طوری توضیح بدم.
As opposed to just an attempt to save face. This is a proper apology, not a tweet.
Exactly. دقیقاً ببینید یه دونه قشنگ عذرخواهی درست حسابی کرد.
Drake also apologized for his role in it as well, essentially saying that they should have avoided it in the first place. However, this was by no means the only time that J. Cole had to hold his hands up to not getting something right. Because soon after, there was a drama involving the Chicago MC No Name that he came out on the wrong end of. At the peak of the Black Lives Matter movement in 2020, No Name had some words for rappers who she felt weren't doing their part when they had previously profited off of talking about social issues in their music, as she wrote, "Poor black folks all over the country are putting their bodies on the line and protesting for our collective safety. And y'all favorite top-selling rappers not even willing to put a tweet up. Their whole discographies be about black plight, and they're nowhere to be found." Despite the fact that No Name never mentioned anyone by name, many took her tweet as a subtle shot at artists like J. Cole and Kendrick Lamar, and Cole himself clearly felt the same way. In response, he dropped Snow on the Bluff, a track aimed at an unnamed woman, presumed to be No Name, where he would go on to criticize her tone, suggesting that it came off as alienating, with bars like, "It's something about the queen's tone that's bothering me," and "If I could make one more suggestion respectfully, I would say it's more effective to treat people like children." It's no surprise that, while Cole's core fans were just excited to hear new music, plenty of others felt like he completely missed the mark. Critics slammed the track as condescending and tone-deaf, turning what could have been a powerful moment into a messy situation that sparked real backlash for Cole.
How is it that J. Cole has come through with this track where he's essentially made the situation about him, and he's come through like, "Oh, woe is me, I can't be a leader, I haven't read enough books." But then you have Lil Baby. He comes through with a new track, kills it. The last person you would ever expect this from, like, drops one of the wokest fucking songs in reaction to all of this shit. And yet it is J. Cole who is bending the knee and saying, "I cannot speak to this, I'm just not smart enough." I don't get it. Do we live in fucking bizarro land?
Afterwards, Cole opened up about why he felt compelled to respond in the first place, admitting that he had second thoughts almost immediately, and confessing that he wasn't the leader people expected him to be, mainly because he quote-unquote hadn't done the reading. "I stand behind every word of the song that dropped last night," he wrote on Twitter. "Right or wrong, I can't say, but I can say it was honest. Some assume to know who the song is about. That's fine with me. It's not my job to tell anybody what to think or feel about my work. I accept
خوشم اومد دابل داون. هر کاری که کردم گفتش که آره کردم چونی همینی که هست.
honor her as a leader in these times. She has done and is doing the reading, the listening, and the learning on the path that she truly believes is the correct one for our people. Meanwhile, a dude like me just be rapping. I haven't done a lot of reading, and I don't feel well equipped as a leader in these times, but I do a lot of thinking. And I appreciate her and others like her because they challenge my beliefs, and I feel that in these times, that's important. We may not agree with each other, but we gotta be gentle with each other." In response, No Name dropped Song 33, directly calling out Cole for choosing to write about her instead of addressing bigger issues like police brutality and racial injustice, which led to a heated debate over who was really in the wrong.
No Name called out J. Cole for calling her out at a time like this when black women and black men are being killed, but didn't No Name call people out with tweets at a time like this when black men and black women are being killed? They're all doing the same thing to each other.
Well, it's not really I feel like this track is just basically like, come on, y'all, we got to do better. That's kind of how I look at it.
They all be doing better?
And J. Cole put out a tweet to also to encourage people to go listen to the song as well.
I think the record is dope. I salute the No Name, but I just think everybody needs to collectively take a breath. I think we're all hurt right now, and we are not each other's enemy.
But many felt like the whole thing was
Exactly.
unnecessary and distracted from more important issues. And if anyone took the L, it was Cole. One user summed it up perfectly by saying, J. Cole took the biggest and most unnecessary loss of the year by first attacking a popular and talented rapper out of the blue, then getting bodied by said rapper in seconds, then admitting he doesn't read books, LMAO. He even got shaded by Chance the Rapper as well, who claimed that it was yet another L for men masking patriarchy and gaslighting as constructive criticism. Down the line, Noname admitted that she let herself get waylaid by it and shouldn't have even engaged.
I never spoke on his name ever, so like that is always going to be at the forefront in the beginning of the whole thing, is like just hopped out and spoke when their name wasn't even called. But what's the saying? Hey, dog's gonna holler, whatever. Like whatever he felt like it was about him. He felt some type of way. He hopped on and did that shit. I still feel like weird about me responding. Like I don't. Like after I released my song, I did come out and apologize because I felt like I let my ego get the best of me and I didn't have to respond.
اوکی ببین آدمای خوبی بودن جفتشون، فهمیدن که اشتباه کردن، هم جیکون هم این جفتشون عذرخواهی کردن. خوبه دیگه. حالا جی بله این یکم لاشی بازی ها، مثلا میرید توی چی بهش میگم، میرید داخل یه دونه اینترویوی یا مثلا داخل یه مصاحبه یا داخل پادکستی یا داخل حالا هر داستانی، بعد شما کلی حرف میزنید، اینا میان یه سری حرفا رو قشنگ کات میکنن، حرفا رو قشنگ میذارن بغل دست هم دیگه، یه سری حرفا رو میزنن، یه سری جاهای رو پاش میکنن، قشنگ شما رو یه طور بد جلوه میدن. امکانش 100% زیاده و مطمئنا انجام میدن یعنی اینا رو. امینم که همیشه نه همیشه عذرخواهی نمیکنه ولی همیشه داره آفنس میکنه، همه رو همه داره حمله میکنه، همه رو گاییده. آره اسلیم شیدی.
But navigating today's music industry has put him in situations where even he's had to swallow his pride and backtrack. Was unbothered. Did you ever hear me publicly say anything about it? Because I knew what the intent was. He felt pressured because people got offended by me. Don't get offended by me. We were playing Grand Theft Auto when we heard that. We were like, okay, shrug, and then kept playing. But it turns out that the tension wasn't totally one-sided, because after gaining perspective on what Eminem was dealing with during his drug addiction era, Tyler admitted he felt a bit bad for how harsh he'd been.
I seen this show called, I think, Painkillers on Netflix, and it's about like how people got addicted to opioids in like the 90s.
Okay,
I saw that show, and Eminem put out this album called Recovery. 2010. I was a big Eminem fan, and when that album came out, I fucking hated it. Publicly was like, this shit is whack. And after watching that show, dude, I felt so bad I felt so bad about those tweets and things like that, because thinking from his perspective, someone like me publicly saying that stuff and him getting off drugs and being clean and getting to a point in his life that's behind him, and me implying like you need to, no, this shit is whack. He probably felt like I was attacking him. I thought I was just like, I don't like the music. He was in a different part of his life and probably felt like I was attacking him.
اوکی راست میگه. پشمام حاجی ببینید چقدر خدا وکیل خوب خودتون رو بذارید جای یارو، از اون زاویه اون فردم به این موضوع نگاه کنید. قشنگ دو طرف متوجه شدن، هم امینم عذرخواهی کرده، هم تایلر چیز عذرخواهی کردن. تمام آدمای درست حسابی.
I learned how to put words together in rhythm because of some of the Eminem stuff I was hearing and storytelling and things like that. So after watching that show, that gave me perspective, and I felt so terrible about some of the things I said about that Recovery album, because I realized that was a big step and meant a lot to him. And my fucking stupid ass was like, I want to hear the same song and dance, and I love the Eminem show, but like, he's not there anymore. I felt terrible.
But Tyler wasn't the only loyal fan that M ended up crossing the line with. Over the years, Eminem and Rihanna teamed up for massive hits like Love the Way You Lie and The Monster. And she had nothing but praise for him. As a collaborator,
Eminem و ریانا دو تا آهنگ خوب دارن بکنن.
Something is wrong with Eminem. I mean, he has so much in his mind that I almost feel lucky for him that he has music.
Fucking
He has so much in his head that music
holy
is such a great release for him. He's one of my favorite artists.
However, as it turns out, this didn't necessarily excuse her from getting the wrath of Shady when he was
Oh my god. آجی یعنی واقعا امینمی که اومد یه سالی همه رو دیس کرد، واقعا آجی مادر خودش، خواهر خودش، کل دوستای خودش، همه رپرها همه رو دیس کرده، همه ریسا. فکر کنم فقط ایرانی رو دیس نکرده. یه رضا پیشرو مونده و رضا پیشرو رفیقش بود دیگه، رو گفته بود یه بار رضا پیشرو گفته هاشیمه. بعد یه بار رضا پیشرو رو فقط چیز نکرده، دیس نکرده، یه بار ایرانی ها رو همه رو دیس کرده.
Let me add my 2 cents. Of course I side with Chris Brown. I'd beat that bitch too if she gave my an itch now. Although she never directly responded, everyone universally knew that wasn't something she deserved. So once again, Eminem apologized, beginning with the 2021 track Zeus, where he said the following: "Long as I re-promise to be honest, and wholeheartedly apologies, Rihanna, for that one song that leaked. I'm sorry, Ree. It wasn't meant to cause you grief. Regardless, it was wrong of me." Later, after the album emerged, he explained that it was never his intention for it to see the light of day in that form, and that he didn't even recall writing the track.
When it first happened, I was like, first I didn't know how somebody got it. Second of all, I have zero recollection of even remembering doing that verse. Like the rhyme schemes didn't even sound like familiar to me. So I was caught off guard too. I was like, what the fuck? I said that? You know, it's 10 plus years old, but I'm not making excuses for it. I said it and I was wrong for saying that. It was
what the fuck?
That's a lot of times, especially with the Relapse record, when I first started learning how to rap again because of the drug situation that I went through and having to relearn a lot of things. That was one of those things that it was like, well, if it rhymes, say it. I'm sure looking back now, I should have thought better of it.
If the unhinged man behind tracks like Kim and Square Dance can apologize, it's evident
آره حاجی،
no one in hip hop
اگه واقعا امینم عذرخواهی کرده دیگه همه میتونن عذرخواهی کنن. آره بچه‌ها، حتما اگه این ویدیو خوشتون اومد ما رو لایک و کامنت و سابسکرایب بکنید. لوئستار هم همینطور ویدیو خیلی خفنی درست میکنه. اینم بود از ویدیو امروز بچه‌ها. اگه خوشتون اومد لایک و سابسکرایب فراموش نشه تا با ویدیو بعدی. پیس.